Hey guys, it's Drummond. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you know whenever I'm posting my next video. So today's video is going to be about social programming or cultural programming. When it comes to the type of person that we are, you have to realize that it's because of everything that's around you. So someone who lives here in Virginia like I do might have a little bit more similar cultural programming than someone who lives on the West Coast in California or a completely different country. So when it comes to our perception of things, we have to realize that everything around us is affecting the way that we think. So someone who's been in a car accident or someone who's been bitten by a dog, those people are going to react differently when they see a puppy. They're going to react differently when they are in someone's car and they're speeding. So when it comes to the different things that affect you, you have to realize that when you live in the country and you're surrounded by tons of people who are very conservative, that some of your views might be very conservative. And for me, I did grow up very Republican. I grew up with my entire family other than my mom being Republican, and it wasn't until I got to college and I was around other people and when I started moving around to different states that I realized that my views were a little bit more liberal than my family's views. And I started to realize that it's very important that I determine my own thoughts instead of having other people tell me what I should think. And I feel like now that elections are coming up in 2020, I think a lot of people need to realize that when it comes to our cultural perceptions, it's really based upon where you live. And one thing that I've noticed when I moved back here to Virginia is there's a lot of people here in my town that have never really left Amherst or left Virginia. There's some people here that the furthest they've ever gone is like Virginia Beach, which is like 3 hours away. And to me, that's insane. Thankfully for me, my family did a lot of traveling. So just because my family does traveling doesn't mean that they're going to become more liberal. They are a lot more open-minded. When it comes to Donald Trump, my family is very Republican, but my family doesn't have very positive views of him just because there's a lot of things that he's said and done that kind of go against the things that my family stands for. So you can be a Republican and not like Trump, and you can be a Democrat and think that some of the things that Trump does are okay. So for me, I really can't look at Donald Trump and think that he's a great person. So for me, I grew up in the country, so when it came to the environmental stuff that he started cutting funds for, it really affected me in a negative way just because I believe that the earth is the most important thing and that that's something that we really need to focus on. So for me, my views are the environment matters. So there's other people who have grown up in the cities and never really gone out into nature, and for them, choices that they make aren't really going to be based around nature just because it's not something that's ever been really important to them. Yes, they probably understand that trees are important, the world is important, that global warming is happening, and the icebergs are melting, and that's really bad. But they don't really appreciate it, and they don't look at it through the filter that I have because I grew up in this. This is something that I love doing. I love going out and hiking. Also, when it comes to voting for different parties, me being a part of the LGBT community is very important to me, so that's another filter that I have, that when it comes to my ideas and when it comes to my judgment calls, I'm going to make sure that everything that I do is pushing us towards a better future for the LGBT community. So I put stuff out on YouTube that have my personal views on them, and that's something that I'm aware of. So when it comes to other people that have different opinions than my own, I'm very open-minded to hearing their side of the story and hearing their perspective just because I love learning new things. So one thing that I love doing is meeting people from other countries, and hopefully I can travel a lot in the future to other countries just to kind of learn more. I know that when I went to Puerto Rico a couple years ago, that my eyes were really opened to what it looks like to be poor in a different area. Since Puerto Rico is, I guess, technically part of the United States, it's more of a territory than a state. I saw firsthand that that territory really got affected by the hurricane and it really wiped them out. And when it came to those people living on an island, they really didn't have the resources to kind of rebuild quickly like we do here in the United States. And I feel like a lot of people who live here in the United States forget that just because we have resources and a government that can fund those resources doesn't mean that everyone else does. So when a hurricane hits us, it's a lot different than a hurricane hitting a place like Puerto Rico, where they're kind of waterlocked and don't really have the ability to just kind of pull resources from other places. So I was just making this video because I thought that's something that a lot of people needed to be a little bit more aware of, is when you're talking to people from other countries, or you're talking to people from other states, or different income levels, or different backgrounds, or different ethnic groups. There's a lot of different things that make us different, and because of those differences, we have different views, and it doesn't make one person right or wrong. It just means that we have to figure out a way to communicate and find similar interests so that we can move forward as a country or move forward as a group of people. And I think in today's day and age, I feel like a lot of us delete people who are different, and anyone who disagrees with us. I know that because I live here in Virginia, where it's a little bit more conservative, at least where I live, I know that Virginia just flipped blue for the first time in forever, which is amazing. It's nice to know that it's a blue state where I live, but honestly, I feel like it being a blue state has really pissed off some of the little bit more closed-minded people, and I feel like the hate is kind of shifting and being directed towards people that did vote blue. And I do worry a little bit just because I do have the equality sticker on my car. And when it comes to liberals who only see things from the liberal standpoint, there are now also people on the conservative side who see things only from their viewpoint, and they're really upset right now. So the point of this video is that I just want you guys to take a step back and realize that you're viewing the world through different filters, and just kind of remove those filters slowly and see what the world really is. I know that when it comes to social media, a lot of it really just kind of shows you what they think you want to see. So of course I'm not going to see any Trump campaign stuff, just because I'm not the type of person that goes and clicks on tons of Trump stuff. So Facebook feeds me all the liberal stuff. And I feel like that's actually getting us to the point where we're really so one-sided on everything, because we never really hear the other side. So because I live here in the conservative part of the United States, mainly just because it's very rural here, I have learned to communicate with people who have very different views than I do. And it's crazy because when you communicate, instead of like attack each other right off the bat because they have different views, you actually start to realize that you have some similar interests, and you're able to communicate and just kind of work together on different projects without ever really talking about your differences, because a lot of us have common goals, and that's actually something that we can use to kind of move forward in a positive way, instead of constantly tearing each other down and making the divide even larger than it is already. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it opened some of your eyes to a few more perspectives. Like I said, just step back and see what type of filters you're viewing the world through. And if you haven't already, make sure you go check me out on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And hopefully you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.